Hey, Pastor Guy here, Zion House of Prayer. This is weekly watchword number 23. And I want to encourage all of us in the Zion family to make sure we're living out of our true identity and not out of a false identity which we are given by darkness or by our culture. We know that our true sense of identity always flows out of being a beloved child of an Abba who delights in us. As Floyd always said, we never graduate beyond being a beloved son or a beloved daughter. And so as we understand our belovedness as a child of Abba, we live without guilt, we live without shame, we can be fruitful, and we have a solid foundation. In Scripture, it becomes so very clear out of Romans 8, for all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. So you have not received a spirit that makes you fearful slaves. Instead, you received God's Spirit when He adopted you as His very own children. Now we call Him Abba, Father, or Dear Daddy, for His Spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. Now, we are tempted, living in the culture in which we live in, to sometimes establish false identities based on foundations other than our beloved status as a child of God. What are some of those false identities that we are tempted to assume? Well, the first is many people live out of an identity of who I know. They're always dropping names. It's about popularity. It's about influence. And so the first false identity that we can succumb to is who I know. Secondly, what I have. Some people want to celebrate their wealth, their resources, all the toys they have. And so they build an entire identity off of what they have accumulated. Number three, what I do. Sometimes if you ask somebody who they are, especially a man, he'll immediately say, well, here's what I do. And that sense of vocation, that sense of power, that sense of status, that sense of significance. Other times, another false identity would be what I know. Knowledge brings power, it brings status, it brings a sense of preeminence. And so there are times the culture tempts us to build an identity. It's a false identity, and it will not stand the test of time, but we're looking at things like who I know, what I have, what I do, and what I know. There's one other, and this is extremely damaging, because we sometimes are tempted to build a false identity off of who I'm not or what I'm not. This is when we have come to the place where we're very down on ourselves. We discredit our identity as a beloved son or daughter. We don't realize our value, our significance, our worth, and we actually pull back or we disengage because we have succumbed to the commentary of culture, which really says you're not really anything, you have little to contribute, and in fact, you don't matter. So at Zion and in our walk together, let's make sure that we do not succumb to false identities. I believe that about 95% of discipleship actually boils down to, do we really know who we are? Do we have a firm sense of our identity? And so today we've seen what is insufficient to establish our identity, and those are the false ones. Let's live out of our true identity. We are beloved sons and daughters of an Abba who delights in us. And that way we can be both fruitful and have a firm foundation. God bless. I hope to see you soon at Live Set. Bye-bye.